I'm going to share a question from Steve Walters. He wants to know, what's the story with the Hebridean tartans? Hebridean tartans.
Hebridean.
Sorry. Hebridean. I'll
Yes.
get there eventually.
Hey, I
Yes.
had that
Hey,
question.
the next question. Hey, Eric, why don't you ask a question too?
Hey, Steve Walters asked, "What's the story with the Hebridean tartans?"
That's a great question, Eric. I'm so glad you asked it.
I
and
think
not
what
him.
happened is everybody has left.
It's just
so
that
he has
guy.
nobody commenting. He has no
Exactly.
questions. So he actually pulled it off the page. Oh, that's
You
bad.
had to call me out, didn't you?
That's not good.
The Hebridean tartans are a collection of tartans from House of Edgar. Essentially, what I'll say defines the Hebridean tartans for House of Edgar, which is one of the mills in Scotland, is they use marled yarns, either all marled or some marled yarns in the production of the cloth. Now, marled, going one step back, marled yarns are yarns with two colors, the individual strands, the individual yarns of wool that are in the fabric are two colors twisted together. So let's say it's a light green and a slightly darker green twisted together, or two shades of gray or whatever. And when you twist those together, you kind of get this mottled or this marbleized, kind of effect called marling. So the definition of the Hebridean collection is marled yarns. What's the story with them? So glad you asked. Insert clip and link to House of Edgar interview here. The marled yarns were something that House of Edgar did, and as a fashiony kind of thing. Giving you a little bit of evolution. What happened was about 6 years ago, I'm gonna guess 7 years ago. We started getting from Loch Carron, Martin Mills did it. Some of the mills, the little tiny mills, the Hebridean mills, the Harris Tweed mills, started producing tartan in Harris Tweed, and then Martin Mills and Loch Carron started saying, we could do some tweed tartans. That's kind of cool. It's different. It's something new and a different fashiony twist on tartans. So they started producing a few different tartan tweeds, as it were. And in House of Edgar, I'm not saying that this is not me saying they knocked off the idea. They've said, okay, well, this is something neat and different that is now occurring in tartan fashion, so to speak. So they started saying, well, maybe we should do something similar but different. So they took it a slightly different direction. Credit to them, they weren't just copying. And they said, okay, well, we can use these marled yarns that we've used in other tweeds or in other tartans, and have a whole collection based on that. So they started, I guess the Hebridean collection really started in 2012 or 13.
Oh, that early?
Yeah, but there was only 4 of them.
Okay.
There was the Hebridean Cairn, the Hebridean Heather.
Oh yeah.
Those. It was the
Raghorn or something like that.
4 gray ones.
Horn. Cairngorm.
Yeah. But they started out with 4, and they kind of ticked along, okay. And then the tartan tweeds kind of came in, and then House of Edgar expanded into this broad range of Hebridean tartans, which is like the marled yarns. And they've done some cool and different things with it. Some of them are actually woven in a herringbone pattern, not just twill.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look closely at it, look beyond the tartan at the actual weaving, instead of just a singular angle, you actually have chevrons or a herringbone pattern in it. Some of them have like a neat thing that they've done with the selvage. Like they've done some different cool twist, fashiony kind of things on it. They started off with just made up, I'll call them universal tartans that they designed just for fun. And it kind of caught on with some of the hire companies, the rental companies over in Scotland, where they said like, ooh, we should do more universal tartans, or they were already doing universal tartans. And then they said, but these are like different and fashiony and cool and forward thinking. So they started carrying some of those. One company actually took like one of their, the Hebridean Heather, I think it is. And they did like, which has like a maroon claret kind of color with a bunch of grays. And they said, oh, we're going to do Hebridean fire and Hebridean ice, and then they just changed the color to bright red or bright blue or bright purple or whatever, to kind of have a collection of different colors within the same tartan. So they're just doing fashion-based things with tartan because that's what the market in Scotland was clamoring for and demanding at the time, especially in the higher trade, where it tends to skew younger, tends to skew 20s, where they want to do something fashion forward, not necessarily family related. Now, fast forward 2 or 3 years where they've had the Hebridean collection with these cool fashiony kind of designs, and they said, okay, what's the next step? What else do we do? Well, let's screw it. Let's kind of give a fashiony twist on traditional tartans. So they said, okay, we're going to do a Hebridean collection of, I think they did like 15 or 20,
Probably
roughly
a little more, but
10 or 15 names,
no.
Specific tartans, like official clan tartans. But let's do marled yarns, or let's do a slightly different twist on it. So black watched instead of navy blue, let's do a charcoal with marled yarns. Or for MacLeod of Lewis, let's do a bright, or not bright, excuse me, let's do a marled yellow and goldish kind of color with charcoal and a blood red that's marled as well. So they're still honoring traditional clan tartans. They're not screwing around with the thread count or anything. They're just screwing around with the color palette or the marled colors in the palette for different designs. And they've had a reasonable amount of success with it. I'm not sure how much in the US necessarily, but in Scotland, where people are looking for fashion-forward ways to express either their national pride or their family pride, they're giving them ways to do that. What are your thoughts on the Hebridean collection?
What?
Yes.
Sorry, I fell asleep.
Me, long-winded, no, never.
I have no thoughts whatsoever.
Good. Ian, what are your thoughts on that?
That's basically it. Yeah, I like them.
I like them quite a bit. There's
They're
several
pretty
that I want. I only own one. I've got the Dark Island Pete. I think I wore that on the November show, if I remember correctly. Yes, I do know it sounds very bad.
Hey, Dark Island Pete here.
It sounds
It's his
like
pirate name.
it sounds like something from like a 18th century like sidekick to Krampus or something like that. It doesn't sound good.
Oh.
But it's a really beautiful tartan.
Let's get back on topic, please. Write your letters to Ian at USAKilts.com.
There's several great looking tartans. Matt, one of the guys that works in the store, owns one as well. My daughter's thinking about getting one. Note that they can all be gotten. If you're interested in one, email us or call us, and we can get it for you even if it's not on the website.
We're going to put them on the website. We haven't gotten around to it. We're kind of waiting for the new website to have them on because they're already in the gallery, but it's getting to that process is exhausting, let's say. And we'll leave it there, indeed. So what did you guys think of the marled yarns in the Hebridean tartan collection? Let us know down in the comments.
Hey, Rocky, didn't you do a whole video about this very topic when you interviewed the men from House of Edgar?
Why, yes, I did, Eric.
Golly.
If you want to see the full interviews that we did from House of Edgar, we did one video with us walking around the shop and another video with us sitting down where we get into the nitty-gritty of how they run their business and the Hebridean collection.